Hello, it is Friday evening. So I don't know if my honey bunny is going to see this from far away. Hi, honey bunny. Anyway, so I had an interesting thing happen today when I went to go get what I thought was I needed new tires. I was told when I had my brakes done that some pieces of my tire were missing, and probably happened on the road trip. But my car has done two cross country road trips, and plus the city I live in has rough roads. But I don't generally drive a whole lot. But I did take two long road trips. But in day to day stuff, I'm not like driving a whole lot. And my tires were just a little bit over 2 years old. So I was just kind of surprised when, I was told you have chunks out of your tires. So I thought, okay, I need new tires. But let me rewind. Rewind. Anyway, rewind. Before I took the road trip, I had to make sure my car was road worthy. So this was the end of June. I was getting information that my daughter was going to probably be delivering her baby, sooner than when he was due. And I thought, I need to get me and my mama there. My mom won't get on a plane. I didn't have any place really to, put her in. It wasn't planned. I wasn't planning on going until August. So anyway, I went and took my car to the unnamed dealer. I won't even say, the unnamed dealer in my city. Took it to the dealer, and I said, I just want it, safety checked. And I was planning on leaving the next day, hitting the road, trying to get to the East Coast as fast as I could. And I wanted an oil change. I wanted, just an inspection. How's everything going? The car has like 40-something thousand miles on it. 2017. It hasn't been driven a whole lot, at that point in time. So anyway, they told me I needed new brakes. Yep, told me I needed new brakes. And this long roundabout way of telling me, it's so hard to kind of explain. It was such a messed up day because I went there early and I said, I want to try to leave, tomorrow morning. This is what's going on, da 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 da. And they said, well, we'll check it out and then we'll be able to get it, whatever. If you need something done, we'll call you. And they said they had called me and they did not get a hold of me. And when I called them, like, what's taking so long for the oil change? They're like, oh, we called you, tried to reach you. You need new brakes. Now I'm thinking like new brakes. I need new brakes. Like, how can I not get new brakes if I'm going to go across country, So I went back to see what was going on with my car. And it was sitting not in a very good area. And it had the keys in the ignition, and that kind of pissed me off. And nobody was around it. And there's a lot of like cars that are stolen around where I live. But there was a guy walking around that worked there. And I said, they're telling me my car needs new brakes. And he's like, he said, they told you your car needs new brakes? And I said, yeah, they said that they need new brakes and new calipers or something, And he said, don't say I said anything, but take it to the brake place across the street. And he pointed to a well-known brake place that's like kind of across the street. And I said, okay. And so I went and I paid for my oil change and I left with my car that needs, new brakes. So I go to the other place and they're too, it's too now late in the day for them to check it. So I'm like, great. I'm not even going to be able to leave, tomorrow type thing. But they said if I brought it in early, they could have the parts for the, brakes in there and they could probably get me out of there at around noon. So I'm like, okay. So I go in there the next morning, I have my bags and stuff are packed and I'm thinking like it's going to be even another day probably. And they inspected it and they said, your car does not need new brakes. And I'm like, they told me at the dealer I needed new brakes. They said, and I had explained the situation. I need to get to the, East Coast. He said, yeah, but probably by the time you get back, you might want to have your brakes checked, but you should be fine. It should be fine. And you know what? I went across country, and then when I got where I was going, I stayed for months and drove around that area a lot and then came back. So I put a lot of miles on my car. And then I did have the brakes checked. And then I did, it was like suggested that, yeah, it might be the time to get new brakes. So I got the new brakes, but not at the dealer. I went to a mechanic that I know and they put new brakes on. But it was that mechanic that mentioned, you're missing chunks in your tires. And they don't sell tires. My mechanic isn't trying to sell me tires. But so I thought, well, let me go back to that place that said I didn't need new brakes. I want to go get my, tires from them at least. They seemed like they were pretty honest. So I had scheduled an appointment. I had my tires in. The guy's coming to, put tires on my car. And so I went and said something to him because I wanted to know how much tread was on the car. I was trying to figure out how much tread I had lost because I knew how much was tread on the tires before I left in June. So, he's like measuring it and it's not much difference. And then he's like, is there a reason you're getting new tires? Like, your tires are fine. I said, well, I was told there's like little chunks missing. Yeah, there's like certain little pieces, but it doesn't affect the safety of your car. Your tread is good. It's not bubbling. It's not whatever. He said, you don't really, unless you just want new tires, you don't need new tires. He said he suggested that they should be rotated because I have front wheel drive and the front tires are wearing out, more than the back tires or whatever. So I got a complimentary rotation. The whole, I was going in there planning on spending money on, brakes and had the estimate. I wasn't going to, not brakes, tires. And I had the planned amount I was going to spend because I wasn't going to get like some fancy tires. I was actually going to get 50,000 mile tires because I thought, this is messed up if I keep putting tires on my car and I keep having to replace them. But I didn't need tires. So I didn't spend any money. I didn't need the tires. So if my honey bunny is watching this, my tires are fine. The tread is fine. They said, they could go for many more months. Depends how I drive. So that's great. Yay. Anyway, that's about it. I spent 7 minutes and 22 seconds talking about my tires and my brakes. But I hope my honey bunny sees this. Anyway, to everybody else or anybody that's watching these, I don't know, the algorithm, maybe it'll roll like my tires. Toodles.